Leftovers.
Yeah, he's dancing.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
I like that intro tune, especially when it like goes into the second breakdown. It's awesome.
I do too. I think it's a good intro.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening in on wherever you collect and listen to podcasts, or on Twitch, or on YouTube, we're back.
Or Twitter. We're also live on Twitter.
We happen to be live on Twitter. Yeah. And also, I hope that I fixed the mic bugs. I think I selected the wrong input last time we did a show, so I sound like I'm in a tin can.
Yeah, you sound clear.
Good. Sorry about that.
It's all good, baby.
I should know better. Here we are. We're talking about Fletch today. This was my recommendation from last week, if you've tuned in. I remember thinking this was a funny movie, but haven't seen it in a very long time. And it turns out I watched it early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We had planned to do this a little later in the day, and it just freed up. So I'm glad we're here now.
Yeah.
I really like this movie. This movie's hilarious.
You liked it, huh?
Yeah, it's a little slapsticky, and it's a little...
Yeah.
It's a lot 80s, but the one thing, like initial observations, just right off the top of the bat, I think this was a pretty good piece of acting by Chevy Chase, because there was a lot of dialogue in there, and he was pretty snappy with it, even though it was obviously contrived dialogue and kind of, written in that era of time.
Right.
But couple of interesting tidbits if y'all watched this movie this week in preparation for this show. Observations from me: investigative journalists are masters of disguises. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I realized the movie would be hella boring, but place a few phone calls before flying to Utah would be another one. The 1980s were a very strange time, I wrote. After observing the styles, it's truly a miracle that I exist at all. And finally, Dobermans are, no matter what, a terrifying breed of dog.
Yes.
Every time. So those were my early thoughts as I watched. What did you think of the movie, having visited it the first time, or is this a rewatch for you?
I've never seen it before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Chevy has never been my favorite actor.
Me either.
Yeah, I've always thought he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most Chevy.
Yeah. This is pinnacle
Chevy. Yeah.
I like his work in SNL, obviously better than on the silver screen, but yeah, this is peak Chevy.
I feel like he's really good in small doses, but over the course of a whole film, it was just too much for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, it was a decent movie. It's not in my top 10, but
no,
it's all right.
Yeah, it's a time killer for sure, but just kind of revisiting the 80s as they were, and like I think how easily you could just extract communication and information from people by just bullshitting on the fly. I wonder how close to accurate that was at that time, sneaking into a doctor's office and stealing a file, like all that shit is obviously movie magic, but at some point you got to wonder, like, yeah, there was no internet. Nobody had a cell phone. You couldn't send texts.
Yeah, and maybe a lot of those things you couldn't do today, but the idea of those things, there's other ways to go about that.
Oh, yeah. Just the way they executed it was, obviously to drive the plot line and stuff, and I get that, but it's like, I wonder how close to the truth that might have been if somebody was just quick on their feet,
Well, fairly accurate. You could get away with a lot. I mean, that's even true now, so it just
was
depends.
Catch Me If You Can, like, based on a true story, right?
So
and that guy just kind of bullshit his way through everything, that whole movie.
Well, the last thing I read about that was, okay, so it was marketed as based on a true story, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And that's what everyone believed when the film was made.
Mm-hmm.
But only recently, in the last couple of years, has it come out that the dude just made it up entirely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like Million Little Pieces.
Yeah. Same thing with Bloodsport. Remember that film?
Oh, I didn't even know that was marketed as on a real story. I thought it was just centered around a real life guy who they liked, and then made a fictitious universe around that guy.
No. He claimed that it was a real thing. Even at the end of the film, there's like all this, like, Frank Dukes went on to do this, like all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of that is true, apparently.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's neat.
When is Movie Leftovers going to do the Van Damme-a-thon? I feel like that's got to be coming at some point in our future.
That should have been our Valentine's Day thing.
A Van Damme-a-thon.
Yeah, because we love Van Damme so much.
Yeah, I think there ought to be a month we select where we just go after a Sly Stallone or a Van Damme or something that, because we're going to get a kick out of a lot of those movies, revisiting them.
Oh yeah.
Love them as much as I do. So
yeah, we're gonna need to do Schwarzenegger month.
oh
Like,
yeah,
it's gonna have to happen.
yeah.
But getting
Listeners
back
and
to
viewers, let us know when is Van Damme-a-thon in your hearts, and we'll try to accommodate that if we can.
getting back to Fletch, the box office on this thing, the budget of the film was $8 million in 1985.
Sure.
According to the inflation calculator, that's just over $22 million today.
Mm-hmm.
That was the cost of this film. So cheap film, not bad, right?
Yeah, that would get you 5 scenes in a Marvel movie, 4 scenes maybe.
That would get you maybe 2.5 episodes of House of Dragon.
Sure, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know. Some of those salaries are probably huge, but
I think it's 8 million an episode, so like 2.5.
Oh wow, yeah. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah,
pretty cheap way to make a film.
Yes. But their return on investment was very, very good. They made $59 million in 1985. So that is a return of $164 million in change. So pretty good money.
It's damn good money.
Yeah. So that's why it went on to have so many sequels and a recent reboot. But yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes score, let's see
the
how
tomatometer.
Yes. So the Rotten Tomatoes score, as you can see, critics liked it, 77%, fresh rating, 81% from the audience. So yeah,
better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. The critic consensus, quotably funny, fast-paced enough to smooth over jokes that don't land.
Right.
Fletch is one of the best big screen vehicles for Chevy Case branding of smug silliness.
Yeah.
Which I totally agree with.
I did too.
Yeah, it was 100% perfect for him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What were your early thoughts of the film? Because I know we're gonna get to the 1 stars, 5 stars here in a minute.
Oh yeah, I forgot to grab those actually. So my early thoughts of the film. I kept thinking it was funny how this was probably made right around the time of Caddyshack. So he very definitely has that kind of vibe to him.
Yeah.
I also think that he ad-libbed a lot, and according to some trivia that I found, what they did is they would do one take that was by the script, and then they would let him ad-lib other stuff, which I understand is a lot of how Marvel does things.
Yeah.
So that's kind
just
of
to see what kind of takes they feel has more authenticity or spontaneity.
Yeah, just interesting things that they can get out of it. So, yeah. A lot of 5-star reviews just saying how this is their favorite comedy, and it was a ton of blast, very quotable. But you said that you liked this as a kid, right?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I also it was interesting because they kind of paint him up to be almost like a slapsticky version of James Bond in a lot of ways. There's a scene in this film where he's held at gunpoint in the last scene or whatever, and he's uses a Zippo lighter and a leaky gas line to, you know what I mean? It's like an investigative reporter. Basically. Yeah, an investigative reporter.
Yeah,
is gonna get shot. Like he's not gonna, So I don't know. I'm a big fan of spy movies and ninjas and fighting and all that stuff in film. So I remember liking it a lot when I was much younger when I saw this movie, but obviously the jokes didn't land until I became an adult and kind of understood why, right? So
I think for me, one of the hardest points was because I've worked in the journalism industry. I do know actual investigative reporters, and there's no way in hell you would act like that.
Of course.
There's just no way.
Right.
You just undermine your credibility left and right. So
totally, he came off as like a quirky PI more than an investigative reporter.
Right. Yeah. So I had to get over that before I could really enjoy the film. But yeah, that was definitely a barrier to entry for me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm looking up reviews. I'm not seeing any 1 stars. So, but pretty
Well,
much
that's a
overall,
first.
yeah, just a lot of maybe the lowest is 3 stars. 2.5 could have been better, is all it says.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not really much to pick from here.
You are the first 1-star review.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, man. Why don't we take our quick break?
Let's do it. Let's pay some bills.
All right, we'll be right back. Nice.
We're back.
Back.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
Back to movie leftovers.
Back
Everyone that
to
might be watching
life,
or listening.
back to reality. No.
That's right.
That's right. Um, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first. I think I would like to pick yours apart because I know your
There's not
barrier
much
to
to
entry is a
mine.
little different.
Yeah. But okay, go for it.
Okay, so I wrote this movie is perfect for a series.
Okay.
Like Fletch could be cast into many, many, many adventures.
Mm-hmm.
If I had my way, I would try, and I don't know there's a big hunger for it, but I would try to create something like they did with the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock series, where each episode is like a miniature movie where you got 60 to 90 minutes worth of an episode because you'll have to unpack a lot of stuff that he's working on, right?
Right.
Along the way, we'll find out something like Fletch has a condition affecting his amygdala, which kind of makes him fearless and just sort of explaining his willingness to leap first into situations, quick wit, like same kind of style of thing, break into the doctor's office and under disguise and all that stuff. And that'll kind of just be the theme along with whatever else we start to discover about this character. I said Fletch will work for a fictitious paper, but in a real city. His boss will hate him, but he breaks good stories and kind of keeps the paper afloat. And so while he's always angling to find a way to get rid of Fletch, he also understands that he's sort of the moneymaker because he's a really good writer, you know. Another reporter there is going to hate Fletch and want to be the popular reporter, right? So he'll have some sort of in-office rivalry that we can explore throughout the length of these episodes as they unfold. And there's also going to be a younger reporter figure there that will kind of idolize Fletch, you know, like his carefree nature and the stories that he produces, and he just kind of wants to learn at the feet, so to speak. And so, in some ways, his name escapes me. The guy that wrote Fear and Loathing.
Oh, Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah, kind of a Hunter S vibe, you know, because he's pretty renowned for,
but
like,
less drugs.
Maybe less drugs, but like that guy kicked in the door everywhere he went.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, you know. Yeah. So we'll kind of pitch Fletch up a little bit like that, but maybe kind of base it on a medical condition or something innocuous you could fictitiously write in.
Yeah.
Fletch's assistant and partner is also his best friend, and she and Fletch are the only ones that truly trust one another throughout all these adventures. So they're the only ones that can kind of confide. We don't really know how they met. Their story hasn't unfolded yet, but maybe one of them saved the other one's life somehow. She is super brilliant also, but we're going to give her a dark past of some kind. Don't know how. Could be drugs, could be something, you know, we're not sure, but she'll have some sort of past. I think we'll find out maybe 4 episodes in that she's in witness protection or something. And that'll keep the characters driving forward. You know, that'll create some conflict between her and Fletch, and she'll also be a central figure in a lot of the stories. And then we'll just have the interplay between those as like the core cast of characters throughout the episodes, and we'll introduce a litany of stories around it, right? So here you have the freedom to, you know, Fletch has to figure something out about a pharmaceutical company that's corrupt. Later on, he has to investigate a sports team for some reason for a story he's trying to break, and then he's out of the country doing some stuff, but he's always just kind of kicking indoors wherever he goes and getting into situations. So that's basic premise. I don't have like a start and finish storyline other than the characters we will develop linearly, and the stories themselves will be all over the board per episode. That way you could bring in different writers, you could bring in different directors, and I think you could centralize the character to make it actually inspiring to watch. You know, maybe every 2 weeks an episode will drop or something. So as a result of that, I have a pretty short cast. I'll have Fletch's assistant with the dark past. We'll put Gwendolyn Christie in there.
Oh wow. Okay.
The reporter that hates Fletch, I'm gonna put Zac Efron in there,
Okay.
where he's just trying to be the man and no one really is buying it, you know. For Fletch's boss that doesn't like him, I put Michael Kelly in there because I just like that guy a lot, and I
Okay.
think he would be like a really good, you know, mix
Yeah.
of like Perry from Spider-Man and something maybe a little more serious.
Okay. Okay.
The young reporter that idolizes Fletch will be played by Stephen Yoon,
All right.
the
Yeah.
kid
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Walking Dead or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Fletch himself, I kind of like Topher Grace for that role. I,
Oh, interesting.
I
Okay.
think he could like play the intellectual, but also like completely closed off and like super impulsive.
And he
Uh,
could be smarmy and
I think he could be smarmy. I think he could talk fast. I think he could charm his way out of some situations, and that, you
yeah.
know. So that's kind of the universe by which I would recreate this. Now,
Hmm.
I didn't know that there was a John Hamm reboot of this that has
Yeah.
ads out and stuff until you mentioned it last week when I threw it out there. I also didn't know that they made a bunch of sequels and stuff. So maybe
Yeah.
something like this exists already.
Hmm.
That the limit of my homework is my take on watching the original
Right.
1985 Fletch,
That's
right?
same. Yeah.
So that's
I don't know
kind of
about
what I
the
would do with it. I feel like it's rife to become a series. I would just make it more of a miniature movie episodic instead of like we're in and out in 30 minutes like our normal TV series or 42 minutes with commercial. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
speaking of the sequels, I also found out in my research that
Uh-huh.
there's a kids movie Hoodwinked,
Oh, sure.
and in there is a character, I believe it's the Big Bad Wolf, who is a Fletch archetype.
Oh,
Down
interesting.
to like some of the names they use are from
Hmm.
Fletch. Yeah.
Same writing staff or
No, just a kids movie that they did an homage to Fletch.
interesting.
So
It's
yeah,
a
I'm sure.
weird homage to make, don't you think?
I think it was
For-
for the parents.
yeah. Must have
Like
been a big ass movie in the 80s then. You
no,
know, I
Hoodwink
was
was
one
like
years old.
early
No,
2000s.
I mean Fletch in order to make
Yeah.
such an impact on a movie that was made later in the 2000s, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I was one.
Yeah. So for me, I also went with a streaming series as well.
Sure.
Small episodes, just different mystery of the week that Fletch has to solve. I think for your structure, you end the episodes with him writing his story, very
Mhm.
similar to Doogie Howser typing on the computer and
Yeah.
giving his lesson of the week. So that's Fletch, like that.
Matlock's Murder She Wrote.
Yeah, that would be the kind of structure that
Yeah.
signals the end of the show. Um, so I too, different mysteries. I would like to go more of a Fletch takes on the world kind of thing,
Okay.
and so I would pitch storylines from real headlines, much like they did with Law and Order,
Okay.
like real tales of corruption or political corruption, corporate corruption, things like that, and highlight those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would go with it. Um, Now, as far as casting, so same as you, I had the boss who didn't like him. Those kind of always irritated with him. So for that person, I kind of like to see the idea of Seth Green. I
Oh,
think,
I like that a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a smaller guy, so you have the little like pit bull type element to
Right.
that.
Yep.
I think that would be kind of a fun dynamic for Fletch. The reporter that does not like him and just doesn't take him seriously, Don Cheadle.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think that would be a lot of fun. The starry-eyed intern is what I'll put her as, that likes Fletch and always helps Fletch out. For that person, I wanted to put, someone fairly new, someone kind of into the system. I picked what is her name? The girl from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like this cast.
yeah. And then for Fletch himself, the entire time I was watching this movie, I thought there was only one Fletch that could be one person that could be Fletch.
Sure.
It seems so obvious to me, and that would be Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's super great. I wonder if would you want him to be the Deadpoolish comedic Ryan Reynolds or try and take a more serious approach like he did with that one weird horror movie they came out with that he was actually pretty good in?
I think if you let Ryan Reynolds into your movie, You have to let Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, so it's just his character take, and we just go along for the ride.
Correct.
I mean, that's a great cast. I like the Don Cheadle piece. I changed the starry-eyed intern into like best friend assistant that also does other stuff with Dark Past, and I like kind of changed her out of that role, but same character. I just moved it up and a little bit. I really like this cast, man. I like what you're doing there. So what you're gonna keep it episodically sound to a 60-minute airtime, and it's just gonna start and
They're going to
stop
be
with
one-off
random
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There might be some overarching storylines, but overall, they're just one-offs.
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
Yeah. So keep it simple, keep it low key.
Hell yeah. I like it.
Nice. So next episode, we got to figure out what we're going to do next.
We do.
Yeah. I guess it's my turn to pick.
You got to call the ball.
Okay. I don't know how easy it'll be to find this film. So it might be a little bit of a tough one.
Grab
before I say it, let me
notebook
Google
to
it.
write it down. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me even see if it's available anywhere.
We got to make sure that it's stuff we can access, friends.
Okay, we can access it. I just looked. We can access it. It's going to cost us $3 to rent on Amazon, but we can get it. It is an older film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like time travel?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We're going to watch a hit film called Primer.
Okay.
This, I believe, is one of the most financially successful films ever.
Interesting.
For the cost of money that it took to how much they made, it is huge.
Interesting.
Primer is the film.
So the first time I heard about this movie was 13 seconds ago when you said the word primer.
Yes.
So this will be a first for me. I've never even heard of it for as big as it probably made money. When was this? Like what decade was this movie released?
I want to say 2004.
Oh, okay. This is relatively
2004.
Relatively new movie then.
Yes.
Okay.
It's got we'll talk about it on the show, but
sure.
Yes, it is a pretty great film for what it is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites.
All right.
It'll be fun to see what you think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put a twist on it.
Yeah. And, there's definitely some twists.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anyone listening, let us know what your thoughts were on Fletch and both of our takes on it as well. Try and build some interaction. You're welcome to chat with us too on our live stream. So feel free to tune in. We're going to try and do this either on Thursdays or Saturdays. My schedule's been kind of rough, so we've been bouncing around just to get the content out on a weekly stack. But we'll try and get a schedule out there. I'll try to be better at this.
Yeah. We'll do what we can when we can. But yeah. Well, thanks everybody for watching the show.
Love it.
Catch you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.